The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hi folks, and welcome to Aging Horizons. On today's show, we'll be talking about the renamed Aging and Disability Legal Assistance Program. We'll be talking about what they do for you, how they can help with estate planning and certain legal documents that you need as a senior. We'll be talking about how you can get them, what they are, where they'll be offering them for you, and we'll be talking with the person that will help you fill those out. So stay tuned.
Did you just text me?
I didn't want to disturb you if you were sleeping.
Sleeping? I'm sitting right next to you, silly.
There you are. Hey, I found a couple of Medicare helping programs online that I think we ought to look into.
It says if we qualify, we can get help paying for our prescription drugs. Oh, and there's a program that can help pay our Part B premium.
To learn more about extra help and Medicare savings programs, call your local SHIP counselor today.
Maybe I better text him.
Someone who said they were from Medicare called and asked for my personal information.
I noticed a charge on my Medicare statement for a test I don't remember having.
I got a letter offering me free medical equipment if I gave them my Medicare number.
Something didn't seem right.
It seemed too good to be true.
If something seems odd, it's probably fraud. Call Senior Medicare Patrol at 800-551-3191 to report fraud. This project is supported by a grant by the Administration for Community Living.
Here in Montana, we love our outdoor activities. Unfortunately, few of them are risk-free. Indeed, Montana is second in the nation per capita in head injuries that can destroy the lives of people we love. That's why you should insist your family always wear protective helmets. But you can do even more. When you fill out your vehicle registration this year, circle the Y and donate $1 to support traumatic brain injury prevention and education. Now that's using the old noggin.
Today, class, we'll be discussing the term ombudsman, a word we borrowed from the Swedes and never gave back. Say you're a resident or you have a loved one in long-term care. Now, what do you do if you're not happy with the care and services you receive? You call your long-term care ombudsman, of course. Your ombudsman is available to support you and your rights. An advocate on your behalf could be the ticket. This is your home. If you have questions, the numbers right there below me have all the answers. Class dismissed.
Hi folks, and welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services Senior and Long-Term Care Division. Today we'll be talking about some documents, legal documents that as a senior you need to have. There's a variety of them, including estate planning, and the Department of Public Health Human Services Senior and Long-Term Care Division has those documents, and we put on some clinics throughout the state with professionals to help you fill them out and make sure they're correctly done. Joining us now is Susan Gobbs. You're a contract attorney with Senior and Long-Term Care. Welcome to the show. And as I've been mentioning, there's certain documents that we should have as seniors. Can you kind of go over those?
Sure. There are pre-death documents and post-death documents. The documents you need while you're still living are a financial durable power of attorney and a healthcare durable power of attorney. Both of these documents allow you to appoint someone to act as your agent should you not be able to do so. Everybody 18 and older needs these documents, but it's particularly critical when you're a senior and you may end up in the hospital, you may end up not being able to make these decisions, and you want somebody to be able to make them for you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and is this considered estate planning? Estate planning is an important part of this,
right.
too.
Right. It's all, I guess, it's more comprehensive than estate planning because estate planning talks about when you're deceased. And the documents that fall under that area are wills. There is something called a living will, which is a pre-death document that talks about your last illness should you be lingering and you don't want to be on a feeding tube or a respirator or something like that. We also do some title work. There is a transfer on death deed where if you have your home and you wish to pass it to someone outside of probate, you can do that. We also do things like terminations of joint tenancies. A lot of times someone's spouse will die and they need to get that spouse's name off their title to their property. So we do a number of different documents that can be helpful to someone given their particular circumstances.
And most of this is you need to pre-plan. You need to do it ahead.
Got to do your homework. Yes, you do.
Because once a person passes away, but I think an important component of this is it's your wishes. That you want to have expressed, and many times at a certain point in life when you can't make those wishes known, other people will make them for you.
Exactly, and should you die without a will, the state has a process, but that means that your estate may not be distributed the way you want it to be.
That's right. And what's important here too is that we offer these services, but now if you have a complex estate, ownership, everything's complex in your life.
We don't do those. We do very simple wills. Our average will is about 7 pages in length. We can do durable powers of attorney for anyone, and we don't have an income limit for that, but we do have a complexity limit when we're dealing with the wills.
And again, you probably have your own attorneys and your tax people that are aware of that because it's complex.
Right. And we don't do trusts. And if you have a trust, that's not anything that we can help you with.
Right. And so when you put on these clinics, you do a number of them throughout the state. What does an individual want to bring to these clinics?
You want to know who the people are that you want to appoint as your agent. You would want to know, particularly if you're going to do a transfer on death deed, you need to know the legal names of the people you want to transfer it to. You want their social security numbers. You want addresses, phone numbers. So basically, you want to know before you have to call during your appointment to ask your kid what their social security number is. You want to have this. If we're going to do any deed work, we want what we consider to be the vesting deed. And it's the actual deed to your property. It's not your tax notice. It's not some other document. It's actually a deed. And so we need that if we're going to do a transfer on death deed. But mainly, we want you to think about this and have conversations before you come to us. A lot of times people won't discuss this with their kids or even sometimes their spouse. And it makes the whole process a lot easier if you can agree with your spouse what you want to have done. And if your kids are aware that you're going to do this and they've signed off on their ability to help you as an agent in the event you need one.
Right. I know working in aging services for 26 years that you have 5 kids, they have 5 different opinions what should happen because you didn't decide. And this keeps families together, doesn't it?
It does. I think it really helps when you can appoint one person to be the person that makes that decision. Now, again, you want to pick the person who's going to do what you want, not what they want. And that's so very important.
And that's what the legal documents help to do, because they can administer your wishes that are declared.
And again, it's so important that you don't allow someone else to substitute their judgment for yours. And it is sometimes hard for kids to let their parents go and to understand why somebody would choose do not resuscitate and why they would choose not to be on a feeding tube. And so the more conversations you have, the more you can gauge who in your family is comfortable with what it is you want to have done.
And many times some of those decisions are very difficult for a family member to make. And we're drawn to a close quickly on this segment, and we're going to be talking about those particular forms, of what they are, what they do, and what you want to be well informed of what you're signing there. So we got a lot of great information. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
With as many as 1 in 10 Americans at risk for Alzheimer's or some other form of dementia, chances are someone you know and love will receive that diagnosis. When that happens, You may well feel devastated, but know that you are not alone. Help is available. You don't have to face dementia by yourself. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
Out here, we love our animals, from the wildlife to the livestock. Inside, it's the same. They're just like family. We keep them happy and healthy, most of the time. Secondhand smoke puts pets at risk for cancer, feline lymphoma, vomiting, increases the risk of tumors and lung cancer, even causes eye and skin disease. Secondhand smoke puts your pet's life at risk.
Hey caregivers, did you know that respite time is your time? How will you spend it?
Respite is really perfect for things I like to do, but my son isn't interested in.
Vicki Henry, Manhattan.
Gardening isn't one of his favorite things, and he knows and likes his caregivers a lot, so it's a win-win. Or even something as simple as a bike ride becomes possible when I know that someone I trust is with him.
Montana Lifespan Respite. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it.
It's good for both of us.
I was diagnosed with diabetes in 1992, and I went into denial. It made me angry. I was a professional chef, and I didn't want to change my eating style. It took me a long time to get serious about managing my health. My perspective changed from resentment to one of loving my body, the container for my spirit. Getting help from my diabetes educator supported my goals of improved self-care. I want to feel good and have a great life. My diabetes educator helps me do this.
Welcome back to Aging Horizons. I'm your host, Brian Lamore, and we're talking about certain legal documents that individuals should have and how we supply those with certain individuals who are 60 plus through the Office on Aging and the area agencies on aging throughout the state via clinics. Of course, we have a wonderful guest today. We have Susan Gobbs. You're a contract attorney with the department. And let's talk about homestead exemptions. We just had some tax people on here talking about them, but now there's two exemptions. Please define the two.
Okay, it's a little confusing. We now have the homestead exemption for the tax purposes. This means that this is your primary residence. It is not a second home. And that is for purposes of the change that the legislature made to the tax system, whereby a second home will be taxed at a higher level. We have another document called a Declaration of Homestead. It's my belief that everybody who owns a home in Montana needs a declaration of homestead. Now that could be on a motor home that you're driving around. If you have sold everything and you're living in your RV, that's your homestead. Your mobile home, even if you don't own the lot underneath it, is also considered your homestead. Now you can't claim it on pieces of property you don't live on. You have to live on this piece of property. But what a declaration of homestead does is it protects your property from unsecured debt. Unsecured debt would be things like medical debt, credit card debt. You're in a car accident and your insurance is inadequate to satisfy a lawsuit brought by the other party if you're at fault. Those are not secured by your property. It does not protect against Medicaid, any state taxes you may owe, any contractor's lien, any mortgage, or any reverse mortgage. Those are all secured by the home. Now, for many years, this Declaration of Homestead gave you a $250,000 credit that you could, if somebody, for example, decided to sell your home for unsecured debt, you could keep $250,000 of the value of the home. The legislature, I think, 4 or 6 years ago, I apologize, I can't get it correctly, decided that should be $350,000, and it goes up 6% every year. That is so that we can deal with the rising cost of real estate in Montana, and the legislature doesn't have to go back and make this limit go up year after year after year. So right now, we are over $400,000 that can be secured from any unsecured creditor's claim. And for a lot of people, that's the vast majority of the value of their home. And an unsecured creditor may not go after your home if there's nothing to get.
Right.
If you have this exemption. So.
Okay, and you'll help them fill them out. But now, there's also different types of documentation that we say are springing. A certain event has to happen. What are those documents?
Those are the durable powers of attorney, both healthcare and financial. You have an option to make it go into effect immediately upon signing, or you can have what we call springing language, which means that there is an event that needs to take place. It could be things like when I turn 85, or more commonly things like when my doctor decides I can no longer make these decisions. The problem that we have found on a practical basis is that a lot of our seniors, particularly men, don't like to go to the doctor. So they're not going to necessarily have the relationship with a doctor who's going to feel comfortable saying they can no longer make these decisions. And if you have springing language, that keeps the individuals who are supposed to be acting as your agent from acting, and you can't act, and it becomes a big mess, and you may end up actually in court for guardianship. So we recommend, although we do whatever our clients want us to, we recommend that you get non-springing language in both of those documents.
Oh, okay.
And you can revoke those documents. So if you appoint somebody your agent and something happens, you have a spill or you have something and they're acting in your mind inappropriately, you can revoke it and take them off and either not have an agent or get a new agent. So you have flexibility with these documents if you find that you've appointed somebody and they are not the right person.
Okay. Well, another one of the documents is a living will. What is a living will and why is that important?
Well, you can have a living will or not have a living will. If you have a living will, it just tells the doctor, or a living will appointment, you appoint somebody to work with the doctors, that in the event that you're in essentially a vegetative state and cannot make decisions as to your final illness, that you direct them to follow the Montanans Terminally Ill Act and act accordingly. Our healthcare power of attorney that we do actually has language in it that I think is better and is more comprehensive than what's in the living will. But you can do a living will. It can be registered at the Attorney General's office. Then if you're traveling somewhere and you have an accident, there is a portal where somebody can come in and see whether or not you have a living will registered.
And then hopefully that will be honored wherever you're at.
Wherever you're at, yeah.
So we're trying to close on the second segment so quickly, but I think, our viewers, you've probably seen that a lot of these documents want your opinion on certain things in the event that you get sick or you're dying. And if you don't make your opinion noted or what you want to have happen, other people will decide. And sometimes if you have 3, 4, 5 kids, they all have 5 different decisions, and it can really upset the family balance. We'll talk about these documents and more in the next segment, so stay tuned.
I was outside working on some equipment, nothing too strenuous. I started sweating and feeling out of breath.
When he felt pressure in his chest and aching in his arms, I knew we had to call 911.
First responders were there before we knew it. 38 minutes later, the doctors had restored the blood flow to my heart.
Now we know dialing 911 saved his life.
Your life is on the line.
This message sponsored by Mission Lifeline Montana.
You've probably seen some big-name celebrities on your TV lately talking about all the Medicare benefits you're missing out on. But the insurance companies who are paying for these ads may be pushing benefits not available in Montana. Fortunately, help is available from a friendly state health insurance assistance program counselor who can help you sort it all out. It's free, and we screen everyone for eligibility regardless of your zip code. It's Montanans helping Montanans. Call today.
We get it. Life happens. We're Energy Share, a nonprofit that helps Montanans overcome energy emergencies. With statewide support from energy companies and individuals, we've helped over 70,000 families across Montana. No matter your situation, we'll help you keep your heat on. Learn more at EnergyShareMT.com.
Hey caregivers, did you know that respite time is your time? How will you spend it?
When the weather's good, I gotta get away for some fishing, and that's a must.
Fred Dahlbeck. Clancy.
My grandson tells me we suck at golf. Fun though. And there's never enough time to keep the old 57 Chevy happy.
Montana Lifespan Respite. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it.
Come on, girl.
Welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're continuing our discussion about legal documents that certain seniors should have, basically all seniors, how we can get them to you and how you can access them and express the wishes you want when you have illnesses or end-of-life decisions. Rejoining us is Susan Gobbs, and we were talking about clinics. We help people get these documents. What are the clinics? What's their purpose, and how do they serve the client?
We will go into a community and it will be advertised pretty widely, and we will advertise sometimes a one-day clinic or a two-day clinic. We bring in local volunteers, lawyers, paralegals, sometimes law students, who will help you figure out what you want to have in these documents. We ask that you contact our office in Helena, have an intake packet that we send to you that you fill out, and ideally we get it back so we know which professional to put you with. Then we have appointments. For a married couple it's 3 hours, for a single person it's an hour and a half. The idea is that you come in, you bring in your deed information if you want deed work done, you have your homework done as to who your people are and what you want to have happen. And when you walk out an hour and a half later, you have all your documents completed, notarized. You'll be told where to file them, where to put them, all the things you need to do. And then when you walk out, I think you'll feel a little bit lighter than you did walking in.
Well, after you get all these documents done, do you suggest sharing them with your children, significant others?
Some of them I would share, some of them I wouldn't share. I don't pretend to know everybody's family dynamics. But the powers of attorney, the financial ones need to go to your financial institutions. The medical ones need to go to the medical institutions. The bank doesn't need to know your medical condition, and the hospital doesn't need to know your financial setup.
Right.
So we give very comprehensive instructions on separate pieces of paper to tell you where to file things, like the deed paperwork needs to be filed at the local clerk and recorder's office. So we try to make it as simple for people as we can so that they can walk out and know that they have done the appropriate estate planning.
And then let's say eventually you do pass away. How does your representative know what legal documents you've prepared?
Well, I would hope that you would share with the person who is going to be your personal representative. Another title for that is executor of your estate. They're going to know where your will is. We tell people, put it in the most secure place in your house. Sometimes that's the gun safe. Make sure somebody has the access code. Or sometimes people put these in Ziploc bags and put them in their freezer. So you put it someplace where it hopefully won't get burned up or it won't be shredded accidentally. And then they can go and follow your wishes as to your post-death situation.
Okay. Well, now, this service that is provided through Senior and Long-Term Care Division recently changed its name.
We did.
What is the new name?
Our new name is Aging and Disability Legal Assistance Program. I'm looking at a sticky note because this is brand new, and it does not roll trippingly off the tongue. We tried to acronym it, and it sounds like AFLAC, and we don't want to do that.
No.
But we were getting confused with another program in Montana that uses legal services. And this more accurately reflects the fact that we assist people. The other thing we do besides clinics is we have a hotline for seniors and disabled folks where if they have a question about landlord-tenant law or they have a lawsuit situation coming up. We do most areas of civil law. We do not do criminal law. We don't do personal injury, malpractice, wrongful death, those sort of things. But we don't represent anybody in court, but we give them counsel and advice, and we refer them, if appropriate, to other agencies or to private attorneys.
Okay. Are there some legal services out there for low-income individuals?
Well, we're not allowed to income screen, but people can contact Montana Legal Services. Sometimes their waiting lists are very long, and sometimes they can get advice from us while they're waiting for legal services to be able to provide services to them.
Yeah. Yeah, well, now you've been doing this for quite a while. I know I've had mine legal documents done by you, I think, twice, and probably 12, 15 years.
Yeah.
You probably have some success stories where people said, oh my God, I'm so glad I got this done.
We do, and it's just really helpful for people to do this thing. We've had situations where people have passed away shortly after getting their documents done, and it made it better for them, or they received a terminal diagnosis. We've had families come back to us and say it made it so easy because everything was tied up with a nice, neat little red ribbon. And so having done probates for my family, both with people who had wills and people who didn't have wills, it's very important you make this as easy. Think about it as making it easy for the people who are left behind. This isn't really about you, it's about them and making their life easier.
Okay. And it's respecting your wishes.
Again, respecting your wishes, because if you don't, the state doesn't care what your wishes are. The state will do what the law says is appropriate.
And we're so fortunate to have this program. Well, thank you so much for doing this program, for being on the show, and helping so many Montanans out.
Well, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it. All the documents that we have mentioned are available on the DPHHS website. You just look for Aging and Disability Legal Assistance Program. They are not forms that we recommend you fill out by yourself without the assistance of a legal professional, but there are examples of all the documents we've talked about today.
So I can get you thinking about your appointment, what you want to consider besides the packet that you send out. And again, thank you. And for our viewers, you know, the legal documents are so important, particularly at end of life or if you get seriously ill and can't make your own decisions. By making these documents out, which we provide services for, will make your life so much easier and your families. Thank you for joining us.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.